Welcome everyone to the 4th episode of If Object Show Contestants Were Charged for Their Crimes, the series where I explore what various contestants from object shows would be charged with if tried in the court of law. Before we get into that though, make sure to subscribe with notifications on, as it would be much appreciated. Round 1. Penn. Penn's first crime is in BFDI 1B. He was in such a hurry to make it to the finish line that he rammed into Ice Cube, who was on the other side of the finishing ribbon, to force her to slide away from it. With the intention of helping Blocky put out the fire, Penn kills Ice Cube a bunch of times by holding the recovery center over the fire, so along with Blocky, he'll get a death penalty for mass murder. In episode 11, Penn tightens the rope around Bubble and pops her, which could be involuntary manslaughter, as I don't think he intended to kill her here. Much later, in BFB 14, a better name than that had just brought an emerald back to 4, but then Penn reached out of 4's mouth to snag it away from them successfully. Since it's a massive emerald, it could certainly be charged as grand larceny, landing Penn 20 more years. All the way in TPOT 6, Penn is among the contestants who attempt to steal a meal from 4 and X's kitchen. I think him assisting in forcing Donut to swallow the gumball could count as mutilation, as Donut lost his arms as a result. He also fights against Snowball in TPOT 8 and pulls Snowball over the edge of the balance beam. Snowball is still metal in the next episode, so he obviously didn't drown, but this is still assault. Nothing Penn does in TPOT 9 when he's zombified, or in TPOT 10 when he's dreaming, will be counted, so that will be all for him. Let's see the results. Everything Penn did adds up to a death penalty, a life sentence, 33 years in prison, and a fine of $10,000. Round 2. Eraser. The first thing Eraser does is to be an accomplice in Blocky's prank in BFDI 8, as he is the one who moves Ice Cube's recovery center to the edge of the cliff. We seem to be starting strong with him. His next crime isn't all the way until BFB 4, where he starts climbing Belle without her permission. His next crime after that isn't until Teapot 1, as he shoves Eggy aside to ask about what the first contest is. That would be assault. Eraser gets a hold of Teardrop's new Zap Ray and immediately proceeds to shoot at one of the windows, the shards of which end up in 2's cheesecake, rendering it inedible. After accidentally causing Teardrop to win in Teapot 3, he then uses the Zap Ray to try to kill her, and also kills Penn, TV, and Fanny in the process, and destroying Team 8's restaurant on top of it. Just like Penn, he was among the contestants who, in Teapot 6, tried to steal a meal from 4 and X. Eraser kicking Puffball and Penn out the window won't count since they're undead, but Eraser smacking Teardrop a bunch will count. Anything Eraser does after he gets zombified in Teapot 9 will not count. However, unlike with Penn in Teapot 10, Eraser was teleported into Penn's dream, and is still conscious as far as we know, so his attempt to kill Penn will be counted. Eraser's total sentence comes out to a death penalty, a life sentence, 29.5 years in prison, and a fine of $212,500. Round 3. Snowball. Saving the longest for last this time, because as expected, Snowball did kind of a lot. The first thing Snowball does is in the very first episode, BFDI 1A. When he encounters a sleeping Rocky as he descends down a mountain, he tosses Rocky away, who then hits Tennis Ball. They were both hurt by this, so that is 2 counts of assault. Then, in the second part of the same episode, Golf Ball goads him into forcefully shoving her off of a cliff. In BFDI 4, somehow Snowball materializes 2 metal balls and throws them. One of them hits Ice Cube and the other one destroys her recovery center. So, not only is this third-degree murder, but also property damage worth over $1,000, since I can't imagine recovery centers have a low value. The next episode, Snowball throws Rocky at Golf Ball intending to hit her but destroys the bridge instead. 2 charges, one for attempted assault and one for property damage under $1,000, since that bridge is way too flimsy to be worth more than $1,000. I mean, the railings are literally painted straws. Soon, Snowball gets Golf Ball and throws her at Leafy, Needle, and Ice Cube, and since Golf Ball and Rocky sink, they both presumably drown. He also destroys the other bridge so that he can toss Tennis Ball off the cliff too. I think I will count Snowball tying up his teammates in BFDI 9 as forced imprisonment, since they're unable to move. And for what? Because they end up losing anyways. His final crime before leaving BFDI is that he slowly moved his finger until he successfully popped Bubble. He was so joyful when he did, too. Now we must skip to BFB since he doesn't rejoin and wasn't in BFDIA. In the first episode, right at the first minute mark, he throws some seeds which ends up breaking Cloudy's window. This would be property damage worth under $1,000. At the start of BFB 4, Snowball climbs up Belle just like Eraser did, which would be the only way he would be willing to knock down the others who climbed up her string. In BFB 9, Snowball throws a ball to make a basket fall, but instead of getting it into the basket, he hits the basket's propellers, causing the basket itself to break. In BFB 11, in response to Fanny telling him that he should just let Flower go up without complaining, he slams her against the ground and causes her head to disconnect from her body. She's still alive though, so this is only assault. Then, in the next episode, Snowball kills Bubble on 2 separate occasions, after Cake at Stake and then during the challenge. In TPOT 1, instead of just waiting for the elevator to return, he rips the elevator door open which causes the elevator to stop. I'll count this as property damage over $1,000 since elevators are expensive to maintain and repair. He also forces the elevator to come down super fast by tugging one of the ropes. Thankfully, Basketball is bouncy enough that she just bounced it right back to the top, but it must have still hurt her. It looked like it hurt. He also happens to be one of the contestants who attacks 2 at the end of the episode. He also threatened to twist 2 into a pretzel if they didn't get rid of all of the blocks that were left over from the last challenge that kept falling over and hurting everyone.
Also in Teapot 3, Snowball got so excited about the punching game that Basketball built that he then punched Grassy right off into the distance, really hard and really far.
To keep the funny plant warm in Teapot 4, Snowball takes a match and sets Grassy ablaze. It is unclear whether Grassy ends up dying, so I'm just gonna count it as assault. At the start of Teapot 5, he dunks a funny plant underwater to try to save it, but it explodes and dies instead. Maybe it doesn't like chlorine. Additionally, along with the rest of his team, he kidnaps TV when they steal the fish monster robot that Golf Ball built. In Teapot 6, he works with his team to steal one of the meals Foreign X prepared for the hotel guests. We don't see him try to steal one in the end of the episode, though. In Teapot 8, he knocks Barfbag off of the balance beam, and very forcefully at that. He also gets into a battle with Pen before the latter drags him over the beam's edge. Snowball doesn't do anything in Teapot 9, as what he does as a zombie will not be held against him. He's also kinda incapable of doing anything in Teapot 10, since he's just a lump of snow with a face, so that means that will be all. All of that adds up to 6 life sentences, 55.5 years in prison, and a fine of $72,500. I was really surprised to see that Snowball didn't have a death sentence. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.